Nigeria, the biggest black nation in the world. Nigeria, the biggest black nation in the world.
Or to have a very strong economy capable of employing almost all employable citizens, richly endowed with natural gas, petroleum, tin,
Nigeria,
iron ore,
the biggest black
coal,
nation in the world.
limestone, arable land, and many other natural resources. Yet, as citizens ought to have very strong unemployment capable of employing almost all employable
Youth unemployment,
citizens,
in my
richly
opinion, is a
endowed
cancer
with
that has
natural
eaten deep
gas,
into our society.
petroleum, tin,
My belief is
iron
that
ore,
to solve this
coal,
problem, that we need
limestone,
to move
arable
towards
land, and many other natural resources.
Unemployment in
Yet,
Nigeria
as
is
citizens ought to have very strong unemployment capable of employing almost all employable
youth
citizens,
unemployment, in my
richly
opinion, is a
endowed
cancer
with
that has
natural
eaten
gas,
deep into our society.
petroleum, tin,
My belief is
iron
that
ore,
to solve
coal,
this problem, that we need
limestone,
to move
arable
towards
land, and many other natural resources. Yet, as citizens ought to have very strong unemployment capable
What
of
the challenge of
employing
development really is
youth
is a challenge.
unemployment, in my
richly
opinion, is a
endowed
cancer
with
that has
natural
eaten
gas,
deep into our
petroleum,
society.
tin,
My belief is
iron
that
ore,
to solve
coal,
this problem,
Society
limestone,
that
move
lives
arable
towards
land, and many other
a significant number
natural
of its people
resources.
behind.
Yet, as citizens
prosper
ought to have very strong unemployment capable
What
of
the challenge of development really
youth
is a challenge.
unemployment, in my
richly
opinion, is a
endowed
cancer
with
that has
natural
eaten
gas,
deep into our society.
petroleum, tin,
My belief is
iron
that
ore.
to
The
solve this
problem
problem,
of youth
this hallway filled up, we'll not be able to go one by one. But the advantage of those of us that keep getting number one and then keep number that we have here is that we will be able to do that. We'll be able to talk to ourselves. So generally what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you the mic. Tell me what your name is, tell us what your name is, tell us what your company name is, what your business is about. If you don't have a copy of it, tell us about your employer, or just tell us what you do professionally. Then, as a fun aspect of it, you need to tell us one weird thing about you. Are we together? And we need to agree that it is weird. You are not the only person that gets to decide what to see is weird. So, we're going to say, you're going to tell us what it is, and then we're going to decide if it's weird or not. Are we good? Are we good? You know, the challenge with this max for us that host programs is that there's no way for me to connect. So if you say yes now, I cannot know. Do you understand? So what you can help me to do is make your head very mobile or your hand. So get it. So if you want to say yes, just nod well or just use your hand so that I can stay connected, and we'll do our best with that. So I will set an example, if that is fine. So I'll set an example so you have an idea of what I am thinking about. So, this is how it goes. Your name, what you do, name of your company if you have one, name of your employer if you have what you wish to share, and then one weird thing about you, right? So I'll go first. My name is Chizo Ojugo, like I said, I'm your host, compare master of ceremonies. And one weird thing about me is that I talk to things. So, for example, I talk to my phone. I have a name for my phone. I feel like it's a person. He has a guy, it's a gender, right? And we communicate. So if he drops one too many times, I'm going to be asking him, guy, what's wrong with you? I have a name for my car. When my car is acting up, I'll be like, what's doing you? His name is Bob, actually. He's outside, it's red, it's Bob. He's a very old guy, but he's functional. And it works. We have a very working rapport. So if you mess it up, for example, I can say I'm not going to pass you for like 2 days. And you see the behavior and start acting out. So that way they go. Thank you. Please remember, you need to shake your head because if you are saying yes, I cannot hear it and I cannot see it. Alright, so I think that's good. So we're going to start now. So do the same thing, right? You don't have to talk to things or say things that are crazy like that, so that will not leave the hall for you. But shall find something that think is interesting or weird that will let you decide. Generally, for us to get to know ourselves better. Okay? Alright. So, Chief, let's start with you. That's Zavandi was sitting in front. But hey, no stress, okay? Yes, let's go for it.
My name is Lapchon Balas.
Is what?
Lapchon.
Lapcham.
Lapchon.
Lapchon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Balas.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have a company now.
Okay.
But I work for graphics.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm a chemical engineer by profession.
Nice.
So I don't have much to say, but like thinking about saying a weird thing about myself. I don't know if that's weird or
Hit us.
it's inspiring. I don't know. Although I'm a chemical engineer, like I said, but I'm also a love poet.
You what?
Love poet.
Love poet.
Yeah, I like to write poems. About love. So like whenever I listen to songs, music, I like music. So whenever I listen to songs, I also write it. So as I speak, I think I have more than 40.
Okay.
Yeah, so more than 40 love poems.
Yeah.
Showing one. So yeah, engineer writing poems, so it's kind of weird.
Well, what do you guys think? We have a chemical engineer here that works with graphics and he writes love poems. Do you think that's weird? You don't think it's weird? It's not weird. Okay, you think it's weird? Eh? It qualifies to be. I think I just paid insurance for your room. But it's fine. I don't know why you did this way. Slightly. Snake is well. Okay. 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 So that's two to one. Okay, we'll take that one for now. But I think it's really interesting.
Sorry, I'm going to join him because I'm unofficial. Remember the people on Zoom?
Oh yeah, we have people joining us on Zoom. It would be nice if they could show. So for those of you on Zoom, please feel free to interact with us via the comments box. You can put in your comments and we'll see them on the screen here. You can also pop your screen on. The advantage you have is that we can see your full face. You don't have to wear a mask. So you can maybe put on a wig, wear some makeup, brush your beard, and you don't need to wear like trousers or anything. Just the shirt is fine because we all know how it's working this pandemic season, right? So thank you so much for joining us, Basi, Chukunye, Lemuel, Mandela, Nathan, Shola. This is the advantage you get of coming early because I get to call your names by the time you attend, just say the people of Zoom. So you're all welcome. Thank you. So I think that's great. Because if you have ever written a love poem before, you know that thing is not an easy something. It's not, especially in Nigeria. Imagine coming down from that far writing love poem at night. What kind of no, it's going to need some special level of spiritual connection. It's not easy in this country. It is very possible Lagos can cure you of every romantic goal you need. It's not even a joke, like it is a fact. So if this chief here finished studying chemical engineering, so I know it's not this, I know it's not this, but I'm talking about. And then he finished that, and I know also how many of this.
the commentator already. Well, I just talk to whether people are there or I'm alone. I just keep commenting, posting, And if you are outside, you're like, this guy talking to. Or I'm alone, I'm talking to myself, talking about the rubbish that's going on. So, don't let us know.
Okay, so let me understand this. While the commenter is doing his own job, you are there in the sitting room, supporting him or casting him.
Sometimes my team is not playing well. I'll just be cussing on the coach, cussing on the player, just like that.
Okay. I get you. I can see how you think that as well, because it just makes you look like a madness, especially when you're not and stuff. Yeah. But I think that happens to all of us that watch football. But I think it's weird. Well, does everybody think it's not weird? Kind of weird. What about you, Williams? Do you think it's weird? That's politician. Like Christianity is weird. Okay. So we'll take that. Good. All right. So we're going to have to ask you to there now, since you've already shown. I mean, I'm going to excuse you on the basis that maybe you don't do weird things. We already supported this Indomie propaganda. So I am afraid. Wonder about the other things that you do.
No,
So
for real. I didn't think it was weird.
that's the weird part of it. That's weird because it's not enough that you're doing something weird. Now we need not to think. At least she recognizes it's weird and says it as a weird thing. But you are just there like,
Okay, Indomie account. Is it weird? It's nobody. No, but it's there.
wait, let me understand. For those of us that don't understand, account is far, right? So, okay, when you finish making it, you make noodles with palm oil.
It's mostly lunch.
That's weird.
So, first, there's a problem that you take part for lunch. Now, wait, how does this work? So, you put the noodles inside the pan.
Eat it separately. But it's very
Okay, so you scoop the noodles, eat it, then use the power
especially when you have the account, to play with bills and when you kind of
The problem is I can see her eyes, and I can see that she really believes this. She's very passionate about it. Oh no. I think they won't take the cake. I think they won't take the cake, really. There's no argument about that. Forget about it. Especially there is a please. Okay. So I think that we have a little bit, we now know more about ourselves a little bit, and we can proceed into the beginning formalities, right? And I will hand over to the questionnaire for that. Yes, we're supposed to have the national anthem.
All right. We are going to sing along. We'll first pray, just short prayer. Anybody wants to read it out? All right, let's just start. No, don't worry, don't have to start. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come. Your will be done on earth, as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Do we start to take the national anthem?
Yes. Yes.
We should start. All right, let's start. No, I'm uninspired this day. So, who us leaders.
How audio, right?
Okay, audio.
Yeah, it saves us from any issues.
Alright. Thank you very much. Professor. Okay, so without further ado, probably need to invite the executive director, CBL, give us a brief opening remark. So this will be the preamble of what is to come. So please, make welcome. It's your man, Tony. Hello, everyone. Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon now. Until the morning, this is terrible. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to CBL, the Center for Values and Leadership. We focus on leadership training and youth development. So we have a lot of programming around that, including the Role Model Forum, basically to connect young people to the next, older people to the next generation of leaders, learn lessons from people who have done it and are still doing it. And we hope that you will be the next set of people who will be featured in our Role Model Forum when you have, learned your own lessons and made your own mistakes and made your own achievements, so that you can share with the next generation the way forward. So thank you again so much for being here, and I think we'll play a video later on with a bit more information about CBL. But thank you again for being on time. Thank you to those online. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your time and your data. We appreciate it very much. So welcome.
So, also, ladies and gentlemen, because CBL is responsible for this event, for bringing us together here, and we're very grateful to them for the opportunity. Okay. So, I'd like to, officially started, I'd like to welcome us again to another edition of the Role Model Forum. I'd like to welcome our attendees online as well. And at this point, then we will bring up our guests, our speakers for today. I believe we have their profile somewhere, so Fitch there will help us read that. And by the time she has read it, then we will put our hands together for them as they come up. I'm telling you for free, these two people are people that you want to interact with. You want to have this fun with anybody. These are good people who want to learn from. So I'm excited about it, and I think that we all are as well. So,
thank you very much, Joseph. Okay, this is the Role Model Forum. Basically, what the program is about is the idea behind the program is like having an interface between the older generation that have been there, done that, and then the younger generation, those of us who are still struggling to translate their ideas to reality. So it's a practical session, like a circle. We don't want it to be the whole what's it on the Sunday, so you have to do this with the whole big grammar. No. We want them to tell us the nuances, the nitty-gritty of how they did it, how they rose up there, all the challenges, the ideologies they had to adopt to get in there. So we're here to learn from them basically. So I'm going to take the profile of Adepeju Jariloba. She's here with us already. Adepeju is a trained lawyer, turned social entrepreneur, with more than 13 years experience, innovating in the space of maternal and child health. She founded Brown Bottom Foundation and Mothers Delivery Kits to train birth attendants and connect women in rural communities to life-saving supplies they need at childbirth. And at the peak of the global pandemic in Nigeria, Adepeju launched Colorful Eagles Nutrition, Nigeria's first locally made ready-to-eat cereal company for young children up to the age of 4. Adepeju has been widely recognized for designing and implementing simple, life-saving solutions since 2014. These have directly impacted over 1.25 million mothers and babies. Her awards include Her Majesty the Queen's Commonwealth Points of Light Award, the Friends of Wales Young Stability Entrepreneur Prize, and the U.S. Department of State's first annual Leadership Impact Award. President Barack Obama has recognized her work as she was a two-time speaker at the United Nations Social Good Summit. Her work is featured on the BBC and similar platforms. She serves on the Young Africa Leadership Initiative YALI Advisory Committee. And in 2017, she was named one of the 100 most inspiring women in Nigeria. So that's me, welcome, Ms. Adepeju Jariloba. Okay, so let's go to the second person. This one is very long though. So I'm going to take care of it. Okay, Mr. Ugochukwu also has over 16 years experience supporting businesses in sub-Saharan Africa with vast knowledge of sourcing funds as an implementation partner and managing funds as a donor organization. He is the co-founder of Get Jama Limited, a data gathering and analytics organization, and holds a postgraduate in leadership and sustainability from the University of Cumbria, UK. Certificate in leadership and global entrepreneurship has School of Business, Berkeley, California, and physics and electronics major, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, leading the Rockefeller Foundation Digital Jobs Africa Initiative in West Africa. He completed a partnership with 25 states in Niger, Bauchi, Nasarawa, Kogi, and Kaduna, with Cisco and A3 Foundation to train over 1,000 rural youth. Implementation of Accra PPO Park, about 10,000 employment capacity. Digital jobs training for over 30,000 Nigerians across the 3 states, catalyzing growth and employment. A World Bank supported program. Please let's make one for Mr. Ugochukwu. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Chisom. I'll give you from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Beji. Thank you to Peju and thanks to you for joining us today. We know that it has been, if you live in Lagos, to come out of the house and go anywhere, it's a high risk sport. So we're really grateful for you sparing your time and volunteering to share all of your experience. So we're going to start off with questions. At some point, I'm going to take a break and we'll have a bit of an interaction amongst the listening audience. It's sort of the challenge we can call it that. And afterwards, we're going to return to questions. If you have questions for them, and I'm sure you will do, either already prepared beforehand or you have the question, or the questions come up as you're talking with them, then please feel free to write them down, just put them down, and at some point during the course of the event, we get to the point where we will ask them questions from the audience. Same goes for our online audience as well. please, if you have any questions for either Hugo or you, please be sure to put them down, and we will make sure that they get to your questions. Okay? We're going to go immediately into that, and I will just rearrange this setting a little bit to make this easier for us. Am I going to put this is good, eh? Okay. So, I'll start off with you, Jeff. And you, I'm sure that it's usually a bit of a tough question sometimes to ask people like you to summarize their whole journey, maybe like a few minutes or so. But what we're really looking for this first question is a bit of a background. So, who is Legend, and what is your business about? Let's make sure that this mic is working.
So, who is paying laws making themselves? My name is Peggy, and I'm a trained lawyer. My background is law. I studied law at the Boston University, more than 30 people. And one of the things that I think law has done for everything that I do is to sort of give me a sense of justice. Always seeking for justice, always trying to find right, protect right, and continue to advocate for right. So if you look at all the things that we have done, from Brown Bottom Foundation to Mothers Delivery Kids to Colorful Eagles Nutrition, it's all about protecting right. Protecting the rights of children to healthy nutrition meal with Colorful Eagles, protecting the life of mothers to safe delivery with Mothers Delivery Kids, and protecting the rights of even health workers and mothers at the point of delivery with Brown Bottom Foundation. So basically, Brown Bottom Foundation trains the attendants across rural communities in Nigeria. Mothers Delivery Kids understand that training is not enough. You need to give them tools to work with. And so Mothers Delivery Kids produces those tools that they need to work with. And then we move on to Colorful Eagles Nutrition, which now says that these children are now being born. Half of them will not live to see their kids ready. How do we keep them alive? How do we stop malnutrition from taking them away from us? And then that's when Colorful Eagles Nutrition comes in. So if you look at it, the deliberate effort to continue to protect the rights of women and children across all communities in Nigeria, so that the location of a woman at childbirth, as well as her economic status in life, is not a factor in determining whether she lives or dies at childbirth. And then you are also able to see that every child is given a fair chance to live their potential, and every mother stays alive to watch their children grow. I mean, that for me is the whole summary of everything that I do. It's the summary of my study of law. It's the summary of my journey. It's the summary of my businesses. I want people to be able to stay alive, have a fair chance to live, have a fair chance to compete, have a fair chance to survive. That's what Adequate and all our businesses are all about.
This is working now. Can I project? I think I'll try projecting. Let me know if the online people struggle to hear me, because otherwise I think everybody here can hear me, so that you don't move the mic back and forth. Okay, so thank you, Betty, for sharing that. I like the fact that we just discovered the fine thread going through everything that you're doing, and that's just like super interesting, especially for a venture like yours in social
I saw that you finished from Pluto. So we are colleagues in that aspect, former colleagues. And I did a bit of research about it. I've heard this speak before, and I know that you have a very peculiar story around your Pluto surgery. So we will go into details. I think as we go on, other things will come back that we will of course have to dig in there and cover the stories about. But could you just give us like a summary of who you are and what your business is about?
Okay, thank you everyone. I will first of all say that there's probably not a very clear way of describing who I am in a straight line. But I will basically say that I'm different things for different people. But first of all, as a person, I would start position of the cutting across different aspects of work. You probably know me for wider starting one initiative or the other, or starting one business or the other. But one thing that cuts across everything I do is that I am an advocate for super support for the growth of businesses. So intentionally, I have decided to learn how to be the number two man. It's a very tough place to be in Nigeria. But why do I say that? Because everybody wants to be the guy who signs the check. Nobody wants to be the guy who grows the check. So I have said this like the last 2 years. I think we already have enough entrepreneurs and because we actually need a lot more now managers who can turn things from flash light bulbs to proper establishments so that people don't have a job for 2 years and suddenly the startup development, so that people can actually start up in a business and work there for 10 years and still there, right? So for me, in a nutshell, that's what we want to across all building, right? Yes, so I've done stuff for government, I've done stuff for non-profits, I've done stuff for the private sector as well. So having that understanding and balance is one of the simplest ways to actually describe who I am or the kind of person I am, in the sense that it's about growth and beauty. Right? That's what my life has been all the way. Like I said,
yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to cut in here to welcome, while we were in the middle of this, we were joined by a man I see as a grand patron of CPL and an elder statesman is Professor Patrick Tommy joined us. Thank you for joining us. So, Ugo, I like something that you mentioned. I'd like to pick up on that. You said something about everybody wanting to be number one, and everybody wanting to be the person that signs the checks. Leads me to this thing that has glamorized entrepreneurship. You know, a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, the thing to do was to either be a doctor or be an engineer, or what was the third one? Lawyer. A lawyer. Yes. So I mean, for those of us that were studying science in secondary school, it was either you're being a doctor or you're being an engineer. If you were asked that the only way going to be useful in life is to be a lawyer. So what we noticed was that in the past maybe 5 years or even longer than that, entrepreneurship has become that thing too. So now people want to start businesses. It's cool. And with that comes the thing of everybody wants to be a CEO, everybody wants to start their own business. What do you think caused that shift from people just wanting their children or young people just wanting to be doctors, engineers, or lawyers to now wanting to be business owners?
Okay, I think I have one word for him in essence. It's poverty. It's people not having jobs. It's people not seeing what to do. So I'll give you a simple analogy. Back in 2006, 2007, they were one of the highest paying jobs were bank jobs, right? And then for those who found their way to work in the oil and gas sector and all that, there was some level of their jobs, right? Now, a certain group of people who probably didn't make good grades to be able to go to job interviews ended up working in NGOs. Now, in those days, working in NGOs meant that there was nothing else for you to do. So you had to go and work in this number. There was no clear structure like today. You see someone who's an M&E expert who is basically building log frames and anybody for just building log frames. Those days, most people want to work in non-profits, but those who were like, I can't get a job anywhere, right? But then there was some dignity because, when you work in a non-profit, even when you go to hang out with your friends, they'll be like, oh, and you don't have money. That's it, not me, right? Now, but what is happening today is that people who cannot even survive managing one desk because they couldn't find jobs, everyone become better. And that is the vein of what you see, the businesses you see. Someone tells you, it's very difficult to titles, right? On their names. So I don't see it as, so I see it as what's happening in those days, and that's what's happening. Normal phrase. That they all work for anybody, right? But trust me, we all work for people that are very, even so it is a hard phrase, something that is happening that is true. It's not here to take a picture of who's there now. That much. What we're seeing is that this person starts something small yesterday. In 1 year, it's no longer existing. He starts something else. Things all over this. If you think about the whole phase of all this, that after how many years of Nigerians entrepreneurs and all that, we only had one major buyout that everybody celebrating, right? So that's what it is for me. I don't see so much more about entrepreneurship until we start getting the critical mass. It is not enough to have 1 or 2 businesses employing 50 people. We need to have like 50 businesses employing 50 people, right? So maybe this man will probably talk about what eventually happens, why they don't get there.
What about you, Gage? What do you think is responsible for the mind shift?
While poverty may be, one of the reasons, I mean, for someone like me, definitely wasn't. I had a full-time job. I was very well paid. I was the head of chamber of the state police of Nigeria. So it clearly was not the reason why, I went into business. What I realized is, okay, so 2 things. 1, there's an overwhelming passion. Even though you have this full-time job, even though you sit at the desk from morning to night, you realize that your role actually is still in entrepreneurship. Because in that fair, I still work to get customers in, being clear. So you still you take those deliberate steps. There may not be a name to it then, but when I think about it, all my experience, all my commitments, everything that I did in the firm was actually set towards entrepreneurship. That's on one side. The other thing also is people are beginning to see more and more examples of successful entrepreneurs. So it's not difficult trying to tell your parents anymore that you want to actually just start a business. People are beginning to see, people who just by selling human hair now have a very large hair empire. They are beginning to see established makeup artists. And those people are becoming to, those people have now become like a reference point, and they're able to say that, okay, these people have succeeded, so, they can start something small, and maybe gradually grow big. But what I'm really looking forward to in this conversation, like I said, why do we have only just few businesses growing up? Why do we have few businesses going to scale, expanding and building Pan-African businesses? Why are we not having a lot of fiscal mass and traction?
Okay, all right, thank you very much. I'm happy that we have a bit of diversity in your opinions about this particular thing. And while you are saying that, I'd like us to hit on one of the things that I think is a significant part of the entrepreneurship gospel, I would call it that, at least in Nigeria today. That's the question of passion. So, what is the place of passion in creating the business? Is it necessary? Is it a nice to have? Is it a need to have? Is it a must have? What do you think?
In Nigeria, it's a need to have. A lot of things you'll be confronted with in business that you just want to do. A lot of things. So yesterday, we paid the state government bills. Today, the local government have come to knock on the door. Tomorrow, the CDE association have come to ask for their own. Next tomorrow, the local government coming to bid you for a television that you don't have to come. Except if you are really passionate about it, knowing fully well that in the first year of your business, you may not go break even. Only your passion can actually pull you through. Only your passion will continue to make you see sense in the things that you are doing. Only your passion will continue to get you going. And trust me, even with your passion, you will have down times. You will have times that you just think about who sent me this thing. You will definitely reach that point. But on those days, the successes that you have been able to achieve would have pushed you through those periods. So your reviews, your feedback, some photos of some people that you have impacted, all those things are the things that will push you through those times. So clearly, it's not a nice to have, it's a need to have in Nigeria. Diesel has gone from 200 naira to 250. You're powering a production plant. Only your passion can get you going. Only your passion will make you not think about, why don't I just sell this generator, sell everything, let's close and let everybody go back home, and let me go and get a nice job that's allowed to be entering. Only your passion can pull you through. Because only your passion will make you realize as an entrepreneur that only the first 2 weeks of the month are actually your rest period. Your last 2 weeks, you are constantly calculating, okay, so what is the sales like? And then your salaries, you are constantly thinking about it. Because you have to pay salaries at the end of the month. So many other people looking, at you as a startup, as a new business. So it's not a nice to have. It's a need to have. You need to have it.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, from Benjamin saying that passion is a need to have. So, let me come to this question from another perspective, right? So, because I really want us to be very practical, especially when we come from people that we are attending today. So, let's say somebody like Williams, for example, is running a logistics business, yes? And this is the only job he has, which means that if the money doesn't come in, he cannot pay his bills. He cannot do this, he cannot do that, right? Now let's assume that Williams has a job on the side, which is what a lot of people have to do these days. And working that job and also working on the business that he's trying to do. What do you think is the place of passion in that kind of education? Because what I see happening is Williams has started this business because he's passionate about the cause. But because he has not broken even, he's not making money, he's holding on to this job because he's trying to stay afloat as a young man in this country. Now, the time he could have used to build this business is putting in maybe the day, 8 hours every day into this one, and then trying to use every hour for this one. And we could argue that if you spend all of that time on this one, maybe it's good, right? But then the problem is that he has to be day to day, he has to take care of independence and stuff like that. So how do young people who are trying to start businesses balance that pool of passion and the reality of their day-to-day existence?
Thank you. I think you just put it like 4 questions beside one. But okay, I'll start from saying we've kept the word entrepreneurship a whole lot of times, right? I think I've been quite lucky in all the places I've worked, whether it's Paradigm Initiative Nigeria, whether it's Microsoft, whatever, in the sense that you are more like the owner of your company within the company. Okay, you learn how to prioritize your time. You learn how to decide what needs to happen. Also, fortunately for me, now work in a place where someone needs to be working at 8 and clock out at 5. What needs to be done determines when and where I have to be. Right? I remember being in an interview sometimes, someone told me, oh, we're resuming our office at 8 and then you have to be by 6:30. Impulsive, I asked her, yes, by the phone. You know, so, but passion for me, for me is more like love. Huh? It's not enough. You could be passionate, right? You go to church on Sunday, very excited, do all the prayers and all that. But the same Sunday evening, you are owing your landlord, the knocks as a door, that evening, all those excitements. I know the people who are very because I think it's kind of, I don't believe, but there's a difference between believing and when it's happening, right? The difference between praying against an arm robber and when a gun is pointed at your head, right? It flies out of you. So passion is important, it's critical. But I think that it is that proper due diligence. Ask yourself, am I actually ready to start a business? Right? Because if you have a job that is paying you, maybe something is your side stuff, maybe you're not. You draw when you're bored, when you're not doing anything, you kind of grow. Right? You have to distinguish between what is a passionate side attraction and a real-time money earner. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Today I consulting, right? I support like 5 to 6 businesses. Each of them has where they stand. You know, those ones who doesn't miss on their life. You can't should be there. So that's where passion should stand for younger people who are the job who's trying to start a business. First of all, you need to tell yourself, ask yourself, am I ready to fend for myself for the next 1 year? Like without getting money anywhere. Because that's one of the mistakes we make. You think that because you know how to, somebody has told you, hey, you're a good salesman, anybody you tell anything they buy. You know, and then you suddenly get some money, you go order some face masks. Maybe when you order the face mask and arrive, somebody has already given you vaccine somewhere. And you start going to tell somebody who has the person to buy. You know, so you have to first of all tell yourself that I find myself for 1 year, right? Without sometimes it can be 3 years. So you want to ask yourself, then this next thing you also want to ask yourself, you need to have a God check. What I call a God check is when that light bulb flashes in your head, you have to have a skill that you can put it through to verify that it's actually God speaking to you. You know, because sometimes we we see things, oh, because if you notice most businesses in Nigeria are, like you said, people are seeing some other people are getting successful, right? A lot of businesses sprung up because somebody realizes that, oh, you know what, CBN is giving out the trainings. Why don't you do the training institute? People want training because CBN is doing it. They will not know what the business model is, what context you're trying and all that. So you need to be sure, ask yourself, is this what doing? Do I have what it takes to actually do it? So when you're having your passion, you need to have your project, right? It's important, it's a good thing if you're not passionate. And for me also, passion comes involved. Okay, everything I do, if I see something that I cannot be passionate about, I will never accept that. That's why I just like sometimes I get to fight with more the jobs because once I said yes, that means I brought my passion, I have brought everything. I'm going to put everything 100%. If I don't say yes, then I didn't say yes. But if I say yes, it means I am in. And so my passion is in my pocket. I bring it out in whatever I do. But I don't have a particular thing that I'm so passionate about for me to jump off the bridge for.
Okay. So what I'm hearing here is there's passion, as we know in general, just like you said, but the angle we're bringing in here is that passion is actually something you can create, especially when you have done your project and tied it to something that keeps you, that can sustain you. So I guess that now, but for someone like you, that so your business generally is about care. It's just about care across all the lines. But we were working in government. We touched on this a little bit, but I don't think it's good differently. At what point do you, as an employee, know that now is the time to fully move? Because what we see happen with a lot of young entrepreneurs in this country is people are balanced part of their things. They have this job that you do Mondays, Fridays, Mondays, Fridays, and on the other side, you do something. When do you know, using your own story, for example, at what point did you decide to leave the chamber where you were working as head of chambers and move to your business? And what helped you make that decision?
That's a very interesting. So for me, I left full employment in December of that's when I left full. I started Brown Bottom Foundation in 2004 for all the work that I was doing in Mothers Living with Brown Bottom Foundation. I got funding, I got awards, I had places I was going to for outreaching. I was still fully employed. I was also receiving promotions in that period, and I was bringing in clients for the office. What I see is about value. The value that you bring into your table, the value that you put on the table. So, because of the value that I bring, and because of my boss, my employer, she's also female, and she was very, very kind. And of course, I made sure that in everything now, what was right. In that period, we did election. I was thinking over I was doing all my work. I was supervising the people like you would never even know. I went on leave. I had, I think I had a 1 week leave. I went on leave. I traveled to this different place. I go back on a Saturday. We didn't work on a Monday. My boss was reading for the newspaper that this girl she, I mean, so those type of things are like I still didn't leave. I didn't leave. I was working. There were analyses I was doing. There were things that I was calculating. Passion is excellent. It's a need to have. But sense is more important than that. You need to have sense. You need to be able, like you have said, to see in 1 year, can you fully fend for yourself? Not just yourself now, even your employees, can you fully fend for them? All those things were what I was considering. And so when the time was right, I knew. And even when the time was right, and I remember working to my boss, you know, I have to give you notice and everything. It was war. She said I should give her 6 months notice instead of the 1 month. I gave her 6 months. After 6 months, she said she wanted to travel for some period of time. She needed somebody to look after it. That I would need to still stay. I stayed that extra 3 months. You know, and it was after I left that I now fully, nothing, I would say, nothing prepares anyone for that. There's still a reality, even though you feel that you are prepared, you can fly, you know, you can jump on the tree and fall down 1 million times, you know, right? Nothing fully prepares you for going on your own. I remember the very first year on my own. What is profit? Did you mention profits? What's profit? It was a complete loss. A very, very complete loss. You know, but in that period, I paid salaries. In that period, I did everything I was supposed to do. Because this was carefully planned. My living was carefully planned. My everything, my financial, everything. I was very, very careful. I mean, it's not just that, oh, you know, people ask, oh, but you're not the owner. Why don't you, did the owner give me $1? They give me. So yes, I know the owner, it's good, it's a very nice feeling, and you know, it gives a lot of credibility to the work that I was doing and stuff like that. But there's more to it. It's not just feeling good. Feeling good, your account must feel good too, and reflect that goodness. You know, and those are part of the things that actually eventually made me. Passion must always be sprinkled with faith. We must always do very realistic analysis. Leaving your work means you are coming out to fully compete. Are you ready for that competition? Are you ready to fully take the mantle of your life? It's good that they say, oh, you know, you have flexibility, you would have your own time, you know, you'll be able to do a lot of things and stuff like that. But I tell you, there's a limit to everything. That, oh, you'll be your own boss. We are constantly serving customers. It's even worse because you now have hundreds of customers that you need to keep happy. You are constantly serving these people. So yes, passion is good. You sprinkle it with a little bit of sense. You do your realistic check and analysis, and then you will be able to carefully plan when you leave. And when you leave, nothing will still prepare you for that shot, no matter how prepared you are. But you will be better balanced to absorb anything that comes your way. And then you will get yourself to rise very quickly because you have.
Okay, thank you. So preparation again. I mean, putting together what you said with the two who already mentioned the subject, I think that basically what you say is have a plan. Like a 1 month, a 1 year plan or a 6 month plan and say, okay, assuming I made 0 cash this period, you could carry over this period. Thank you. Now, we would like to ask something, and I think this question is particularly good for you because you talked about your role as a builder of businesses. So, and let's just say something about how to be salaries, even while you were struggling. That makes me, I just talked very extensively about how she was basically a model employee, which I believe beyond the salary compensation also would have added a lot of things to you as far as goodwill is concerned. So, one of the challenges of new businesses or growing businesses is people. We can hire. What we can get as an entrepreneur, someone who start a business, how do you know if you are a good hire? How do you know this person is a good employee to start out with? Assuming this is the first, so let's say it's a virgin business, right? And you're about to employ your first employee or your first set of employees. What exactly are you looking for?
Okay, first of all, you never know whether the person is well or not. Don't even deceive yourself. You know, I went through an interview and at some point, some new business who hasn't even finished their products is telling me that part of my interview is to do a business plan on how I'm going to grow the business. I never responded to that email. Because for Christ's sake, if you haven't done your business plan, you don't even know where I'm going to fit in. You see? Now, you see someone who has not been in business for 2 years, who do not know about their product, that even if you sales target, it's not one. You don't even know what the sales cycle is like. You don't even know what it takes to sell some of your product. It is when you have to see. We wake up and we pick up things. I have major issues with HR. So, yeah, because I'm not seeing the work being put in. You copy job descriptions and interview processes. The jobs that have stayed longer in are jobs that I had conversations like this. Still no long processes. You don't even find the kind of person you're looking for. Right? So I used to tell someone, hire for attitude. Attitude is the most important thing. You need positive energy in the house, especially as an entrepreneur. There are days you wake up and it just looks like it gathered all the bricks in Lagos to fall on top of your head. You need people who can actually see some good in the bad that is happening. It's very important. Now, but in terms of hiring, I don't think it's the person that you hire. In most cases, that's what people don't think about. It's actually the business. You know the truth. I mean, we can say anything about Lagos State today. You know, Lagos State can never fail again, even if 15-year-old becomes the governor of Lagos. You know why? A lot of work has been put in. Before you can dismantle those structures that fail, somebody's going to push you down. When you see a child becomes a good child when they grow up, it is how their parents grew them when they were small. They didn't learn it in church. They didn't learn it from a motivational speaker. It's what they grew up with. And it's not like it's there. So when you have a business, the simple ways to get a good hire. Number one, have you perfected the product you're selling? I can succeed with Microsoft any day because Microsoft has spent 10, 15 years making sure that this product is okay, that whatever I say you do, it's going to do. But you cannot start a business today that we're still trying to turn around what your business is and you're giving me targets. They give me sales targets that I have to meet. That when I go to the client, and you have clients that are always looking for something. They're always trying to use our oil to fry egg at some point. It is with something, I don't know how it is. So you have to also understand the environment. So, but as a business, have you perfected your product? Is your product at the point where you have seen acceptance? That's number one. The other thing is, do you have an environment that manages people? If you have an environment where if somebody knows somebody 2 steps ahead, they are fine. You're bound to get wrong employees. But if you have an environment that encourages strong for growth, if I know that if I meet my sales target for the next month, I'm going to be promoted, I will focus on my work. Right? So you need to have an environment as well. But unfortunately, here we don't look at most of those things. Someone needs to go. He needs to feel himself best. So you're saying everything is like, okay, just like when you want to buy a software. Have you ever read any of those terms and conditions? Nobody ever. I don't know anybody who is. We just stick it up, right? You know, so you go to the environment, everything is fine, it's okay. Right? Unless you are at a certain stage in your life where you're looking at who is going and you're like, this guy can't do this. Okay. So when you set that environment and the product is good, and then you find that out, you guys will naturally bond. Trust me. You have a natural bond with that. It's nobody wants to get into a position of abuse person. Yes. As much as you might think about it, everyone wants to build some skill legacy. But in some places, what they call it, there's nothing for them to build on. They go to survival mode. They can collect this for everyone like this, whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But you are so you don't need a lot. You already did that. Okay. That goes. Okay. Fantastic. All right. This is a reminder that you should be, taking your questions down, just writing them down. Also, for those that are watching online, please put your questions down as the admin person directs, and we'll get to the point where we can ask questions. So, but like a major part of the business of what you've done in your business, a lot of it has given you some a significant amount of global recognition. You've met President Obama, mentioned, awarded by the team and stuff like that. Now, in building a business, what do you think is the place for things like this? So, for example, the angle I'm coming from is this: a lot of people in trying to do businesses, especially for the social media age. So if somebody, for example, Christiane, for example, there wants a packaging business, and she's starting this packaging business online. Now she's doing everything she can to get to the bank of news, so she can say, "Oh, that I've done packaging job for bank of news," or somebody that is a big name or a celebrity, right? And so name dropping essentially, you that into your website or your resume. Do you think that works in helping business actually grow and to become profitable? Because I'm saying growth in terms of just brand, but then there's also growth in terms of actually becoming profitable. Or do you have a balance, or is it a strategy that works in your opinion?
So that's basically like influential marketing. So you're using an essential to market. So there is the influencer marketing team. There's also the organic growth. Organic growth is harder, but it's more sustainable. Organic growth is basically a growth from bottom up. Organic growth is something that relies on the ultimate consumer of your goods. They are the ones that are consuming, and they are the ones that will give you valuable feedback that can help you to continue to improve the product that you have, as well as also recommend it to other people. So it's not a one-off kind of thing for them. It's a continuous kind of one person just when you don't even have a marketing. That's super important. So organic growth, there's a place for influencer marketing, and a lot of people do influencer marketing. But I'll tell you that from my experience in Colorful Gables Nutrition, which is basically a very food, we have not done any kind of influencer marketing. We have tried to focus as much as possible on the ultimate consumer, which is the babies, through the mother. The mothers must first like it. It's good if W picks up the pack and it talks about all these things and everything. But after that, what next? And then they buy the products. So they buy the product and go, okay, why is it even like this? And they complain about it. You don't want that. You don't want one unsatisfied bad customer, especially when you are just doing it. As much as it depends on you have to be able to make the customer happy. So the important thing, the key thing in marketing, and when you're starting off, when you have a small business that you're just trying, it's okay for people not to like your product. It's okay for them not to use it, but it's not okay for them to not. And that's why you must always make sure that customers are And even when they buy and they do not like what you're selling, you still make them feel very good. It's not that they end up telling you, even though my child did not eat this, but I will still recommend it to my sister. This time, they end up blaming the child. You hear things like the child is such a picky eater. You understand?
Yes.
That tells you the peak
of the brand.
Of your brand.
Yes.
It tells you the peak of your marketing. Sometimes people will come in and people say, everybody else has been talking about this thing, their child is, I don't know why my child is not. What am I doing wrong? So it's no longer about you. It's no longer about your brand. It's no longer about the product or the service that you are offering. It's not about, the mother now thinks it's about her. That maybe she's not doing it well. And then, if blaming her does not, if blaming herself does not sit down, then it turns into the kind of say that this child is such a picky eater. What other thing can you recommend? Do you have something else I can? So they're not leaving, they're not willing to even leave you. They continue to revolve around you, and that is the peak that influencer marketing cannot get you to.
Yeah.
So you want to build your business. There's a time for it. You will not even need to pay an influencer before you start talking about your business, because if the product is so good, you don't need an influencer talking about the Microsoft for what? You put on your system, you see the news. So influencers to come and talk about it. You understand? It's no need. Organic growth is super important. And so this is an organic growth result of influencer marketing. You spend a lot of money on influencer marketing. And that's what you just need to do is spend a lot of energy, effort, and time on your organic customer. That's just it. From my own experience, that's how I've seen this thing. And Colorful Jingles is just 9 months in business. So I can speak a lot about our customers and our customer acquisition, customer base, customer acquisition processes, and feedback. So I know when you talk about influencer marketing and organic growth is super important for you to have the continuous supply of customers and for you to continuously be able to get the essential feedback you need to continue to modify your product to the suitability of your customers. The only way to listen to them, the only way to get it is to do organic.
I love that. And when you said that I thought it was 9 months, I thought about I already know it's 9 months actually. By the way, so I have one question for you. Then I want us to take questions from that. I don't want to keep the questions to the audience just in case we just might have something that will draw us onto the right path, just so we make sure that we're serving the need of the people listening to us. So we'll take about 2 questions. So we help me get 2 people that we can take questions from. What did you also said customer is thing? I'll hear that a lot, right? So my question is customer really, as an entrepreneur in the business, is the customer really the king, the commander in chief of all the bosses?
If it's not an obnoxious customer, yes. You see, in one of the series that we quite popular lately, somebody has to cause chaos so that in his mind he can save the plan. He doesn't care if he gets insulted as long as the plan succeeds. So, as a business, you have to decide what you want to do and where you want to go. Any customer who is not in the line of where you want to go, except you review and you feel like, okay, this is something I can amend. But any customer who is not in that line is not your king. Right? You know how they treat us in the plant, eh? Some of us who are very, who have to get it in. They put us in a big role. You know?
When you see God.
Exactly. The prof walks into the plant that they begin to come office and start asking you if you want water. Yeah, meanwhile, I've been outside Canada since morning. Waiting for my thought because of COVID-19. So you have to know which customer is aligned to where you're going. So it's not every customer that's right. I mean, so you can also use the analogy of it might not be a good analogy, but you can also use the analogy of the bars and restaurants that exist in Nigeria. Those clients who come every day, who show up every day, who spend money every day, they might just come in and sign and go. They still get the best of service. If you are somebody who just shows up once a month, and you come, suddenly you wait and be like, oh, I'm coming. So you have to decide what kind of customer is looking, not every customer.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a question here. Okay, please.
Good afternoon. My name is William. I work in so my question is when people talk about entrepreneurship, they focus very much on growth, scaling, expansion, and all of that. Why that's the ultimate goal of any business. But as a first time founder, another side that I seem to be struggling with and trying to manage is the mental pressure that comes with it. But you don't hear people, it's almost close to depression. You don't hear people talking about it. How do you manage it? How do you keep your mind sane? Why growing the business?
Can you please take
I mean, I completely identify with customers. Okay. 100%. It's hard. It's tough. But you know what? It's also beautiful. There's no overnight success. There's only an entrepreneur that's walked into the end. That's just it. There's a lot of mental pressure. A lot of things. Constantly thinking about maybe suppliers, thinking about, in your case, logistics. I don't know whether it's truck or driver or dispatcher, but I know that it can be crazy for logistics. You're only pulled at every end. My customer pulls me for her supply. Who do I pull? I pull the dispatcher. I pull the person who picked it up. I pull you, the owner of the business. I will pull you because I want to satisfy my customer and assure my customer. So your brand breaking down or your boss breaking down is actually none of my business. So a type of mental pressure, and you are in delivery logistics, you have to have a very big sponge. You also have to have a very good customer care to be able to just delegate and spread this thing around. You personally, you have to have a way to motivate those people who do your customer care logistics. If somebody wants to go into my business, who will I hold? I want you. So how tight are your agreement? How tight I don't know the type of logistic company that you want, but how tight is your insurance? How tight is your agreement? So just think about the consequences if things go wrong and try to make sure that you manage those things so that it does not increase your pressure. I understand everything you're talking about. My case is even worse because I have 2 young kids. One is 2, the other one is 4. That I constantly also have to look after. So as you are pulling me for your supplies and everything, I'm thinking about how to pick up my children from school and drop them at home. I'm thinking about the nanny that is living at the end of the month. If I don't have one, I'm thinking about how to get one. I'm thinking about how to manage them to tell them to keep quiet while the customer is talking. All those things, in terms of mental pressure, I have not really talked about. We just find our own way to manage it. That's why when people ask me, how do you relax? I have no question. I have no answer. If I watch Teletubbies that I'm forced to watch, because 2 young boys are watching it. So those things. And I'm sure maybe you will have a better answer for us because I'm waiting.
Okay. see, when in the beginning days of parallel education in Nigeria, when at some point he was myself being one laptop and a record. Sometimes you put events together, you have an event, 10 minutes to the event, for the studio. Go outside, check the street, maybe somebody they lost, but they lost. You come back and sit inside, you check the mic, everything is working. 15 minutes after the time they went to go to track, two people walk inside. They're like, is this the place? Like, yes. Two of them will sit down, one will go out. So 40 minutes later, the ball is full. And in those days, when I start worrying, get out of it or get out of there, go. Yeah, don't know this. Whatever goes wrong now, it's not our fault. And that is what I have put in my mind. 2 Fridays ago, at about 1 p.m., I left my office, went into my living room. It was like up to there. I went into my living room and I lay down on the floor by myself. I was just thinking. And then I got a phone call from someone I consider a mentor. And I was trying to read everything that happened. He said, where are you? I said, I'm lying down. Then we speak for 2 hours. When we go for us, I investigate the mentor. My mom used to say that you cannot go mad lying down. Who am I going to? Apart from picking insurances, first of all, you need to learn when to be happy with yourself. Right? If I put this session together, I've done the registration link, posted my invites, people have confirmed and all that, I've set the chair, camera working, all that. All I need to do is come and sit down and enjoy my event. If somebody does not come, it is not my problem. Right? Most cases, what happens most times is that we try to find ways to say we didn't do enough. Now, who decides what is enough, by the way? That's the question. Who decides what is enough? You have to decide your own enough. And when you have done that, you should be okay. Now, the other thing you want to do, in order to spread your is learn how to step away from the business, right? Or whatever you do. That's why I don't do emotions. I don't do emotions in any project or anyone. Right? It's not that I'm not passionate about it, but I learned how to stand outside and see what is going on and know that this is not my life. Right? So if this business fails, I can start another one. You have to have that at the back of it. That is when you start being happy and comfortable with yourself. That is when you are able to call a client and say, sir, I am sorry we can't deliver as we promised at 5 p.m. today. Please give us another 48 hours. And you will be sure that that will save you 4 hours of screaming at anybody around you or trying to kill yourself. So you need to know when you have done your enough. You need to know when to call it. And that is what business planning is about. You have to know when, we plan to finish the building in 8 days. Some road arrived late. Now, because that road arrived late, it is important for you early enough before the expected time to call whoever is your client and say, listen, based on this, there's a possibility that we're going to have 2 days today. Save you a lot of stress. I think people around here get excited when they come out and tell people, ah, man, since morning I've been working weekends. I saw one video the other day and the guy was like, people who are trying to be thinking that, oh, I'm awake, I'm very sleeping. And he was like, I'm so, you want to cook? I will sleep you every day. So you need to learn how to, I actually did that last night. I don't know why we report yesterday. The second work on the project. And at some point, I called my partner, and my boss was in the we already had some delays in this out. Why don't we just finish this on Saturday? They will not read it anyway until Monday. Instead of us running like headless chicken from 9 p.m. to midnight in the name of meeting deadline, and then we'll send something that needs to be. And lo and behold, when we made that call, it was accepted with some level of gladness that we didn't open the bottle of wine. So don't put it on yourself. Put things where they are and leave them and be yourself. That's the only way to survive this whole thing. Otherwise, if you're always trying to appear like things are okay, you're working very hard, you want people to see you're working very hard. Good luck.
Very, very interesting. So I think one thing, if I were to summarize what we just said, I would say, do your part. That's what you really reflect. Do the best you can do. Just take solace in knowing that you have done that much. So we'll take one more question, then I'll come back to my other questions. Prof had a question.
So thank you very much. This is just a bit of a reaction to the points that made. The first one about stress. Without stress, you cannot do progress. But the question is, how much stress? There's a bell-shaped curve. If there's low tension, low demand, you will never perform well. You need stress. But stress motivates you and drives you to perform. You have too much of it, you break down and you don't get results. The question is, what determines that which performance really happens? It comes from self-mastery. You've got to, as I say, master yourself and build yourself up with what. You've got to be very goal-driven, but you've got to also be able to say, at some point, that an entrepreneur is a man who falls down certain times and gets up each time. They're entitled to a fall, but you can simulate what can go wrong. And when you see that you've got to a point where that thing was wrong, go into your default mode and ensure that you prevent that thing from being, like you were saying, a disaster. Communicate effectively to the critical people that as a result of this, that this may not be able to happen. They can anticipate that something can go wrong. So they can do everything possible to make sure that but at least they are prepared for that thing not happening. And then if you make it happen, it's going to be a loss. But if it doesn't work, well, you've done the needful. You just have to build systems for making sure they work very well. And just a quick point about small businesses popping up everywhere, dying after 2 years and all of that. There's really a difference between starting a business, small business, and entrepreneurial venture. And things that we group all of them together here. Just starting a business is not entrepreneurship. And the fundamental difference, sorry to go into the academic mode, I've taught entrepreneurship for many years, is that, in a small business,
the probability of outcome is known. 1 million people have run small businesses. You can fail, risk is there, but you can calculate outcome. In a real entrepreneurial business, you're in the realm of uncertainty. Nobody has done it before. You might not be inventing something, but nobody has quite done it. Listening to talk about baby food. One of the more interesting food companies, big food companies in the world, Gerber Foods. Gerber it happened because this guy, I think, the lawyer, is going to, every evening is getting ready to go out to buy this gravy, carrots, and stuff. So just thought, how can we say women this problem? And he ended up building a great global food company. Now, I think that if many of us who start businesses to solve a problem or do something, recognize that it's as important for this business to be around 50 years from now, 100 years from now. As we are beginning to create that vibe, that really is what people come to take. We'll ask ourselves, how can we scale up and do it in a sustainable manner? I think that's what our business plan is supposed to do. And there will be a lot of stress. And it's good to plan salary for 1 year. But one of the great companies that we all know, Federal Express. I mean, this guy had worked so hard at everything, and one day, end of month was coming, no salary inside, you know how he was going to pay it. And he did something so completely Smith. Jumped on the plane, went to Las Vegas. Stupid thing to do. And he won enough money to pay his salary that month. And the business then turned out great. Ultimately, entrepreneurs will do a couple of crazy things that help them over a month. But it's after the plan has been put in place. I had a lot of smiles on the prepared. Just doesn't happen. When you're prepared, he was talking about himself and Bill Gasherson. I mean, those early days, I know how I had to go out of my way to come to events of being just to give it a little more gravitas or something to help with getting it done. And all Vega did was he saw me on the staircase and walk across to me. So one of the important things that we need to do as entrepreneurs is network properly, find mentors that can add something that we don't have or not. And I the whole book on this subject, business in Nigeria as a missionary, because so many businesses have started in those modes, including the ISP that put Nigeria on the internet, called Linksel, which we started from my class, and thank you. Okay, so I saw some hands. I have looked at, let's see those hands again. Okay, it was just okay, fantastic. So when we come around back again, I'll take first. So we have a question from someone online. They don't want to ask the question themselves, or should we just take it from there? So after we take this question, I absolutely go and let you can start thinking about it. Prof has given us the foundation to launch into this billion naira question of your opinion. Why is it that businesses do not last? Why does it seem like most of our businesses, even the ones that are very successful, maybe last maybe 50 years or 20 years? Why do we not have businesses that were started by Nigerians that are started like say in entrepreneurs or something, long term something? Are we going to be able to get this? Okay, so okay, Lemon, if you can hear us, please go ahead and ask the question.
Okay. My question is, what's the best good hack strategy for a tech company or for a tech startup.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is that question particularly for the
So I didn't hear you.
Said, do you want one of our panelists particularly to answer it, or you want both of them to?
I want the both of them to share their opinion.
Okay, so Ugo, please go.
Okay, I think one mistake we make first of all is that I don't know if it's a generational thing, but we are all tend to put things in buckets, right? We all tend to put things in buckets. We want to say these are just artists, Lagos artists, Port Harcourt artists, Lagos business, VI business. It's the same thing. Whether you are tech, whether you are on tech, whether you are major tech or mid-tech, it's very simple. And she already said something about that before. There's no growth hack bigger than customer service. That's the only thing for me. There's nothing you can do. You can build bots that crawl on people's pages. There are, those times that they're in your house and you talk about wristwatch. And then the next thing, when you open Instagram, wristwatch. You open Twitter, wristwatch. You want to open your email, wristwatch. You can build bots that crawl. They can crawl in my eye forever. I can be liking a wristwatch, but I don't know how much to buy it. But you see, good customer service, they will talk about you. Like, you'll be asking yourself, what happened? I think that at least 7 or 8 of the individual consulting jobs I've gotten in the last 4 weeks are just people. And you know what? And then those kind of jobs will be able to charge. That's how we use highly recommended. But like she said, if you have one person bad-mouthing you, another person comes, gives you the benefit of the doubt, and then you misbehave again. That's panacea for you getting best. So whether it's a tech startup, whether it's a daily food factory, whether it's a consulting firm, whether it's Orange that you sell, there's nothing like people encountering you and being happy that they encountered you. You can do all other kinds of
Okay.
So I want to agree entirely that there's no compartment, there's no need to put anything into compartments here. Whether it is a tech startup or a non-tech startup, it's still the same principle. Good customer care, good customer care, irrespective of the service or the products that you are offering. The only other thing I would add to it is make sure the hack also is to ensure that you are meeting a need. You are serving some particular category of people. It could be a left behind market. It could also be that you're doing something better than someone is doing it now, or you're actually creating something entirely new. But the important thing, missing piece there, is that you meet a need. When I talk about meet a need, meeting your own personal need is different from meeting, the need of people. So it must be that there's a problem, and people have been able to acknowledge that there's a problem, there's this problem, and then you just trying to solve that problem also is a hack. Trying to solve that problem. So a lot of things you can try to do within your space just by observing the people in the space already and trying to follow up on what the people who use their services complain about. Read online, just Google their name, put their name on Twitter, put their name on Facebook, you will see. The complaints would come up. It could be cost, it could be product issues, it could be different, it could be even be customer care sometimes, but it will give you an idea of what you can do better and then how to tackle this and innovate.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So would you like to take the first shot at that question of why do our businesses not
Okay. So I think that for me, I am saying that there are a couple of reasons, to be very honest. But I would say that the number one reason that I would think, in my opinion, is that from the beginning, from the get-go, from the start of the business, how big a dream did that person have for that business? Okay, so fine, you have very big dreams for the business. You see yourself, in so many countries, on the shelves of so many, supermarkets and the big players and stuff like that. Did you put in the model to make that happen? How many businesses do their annual returns? How many have audited financial statements? How many look at, for instance, monthly? How many do analysis of customer attrition, customer acquisition? How many actually play like, even though you're a small business, how many actually put in the seriousness of a big business into their business? How many? How many dip their hand into the pockets of the company or the small business to pay for a review? How many? All those things, you need to, even though you are small, but in your mind, you need to actually think big and act big. You need to begin to put structures, not when you are looking for an investor, but from the very beginning, so that whenever the investor comes, whenever that person comes, whenever it's time to scale up and expand, you are more than ready to do it. How many actually put in that kind of preparation into their business? And that's what I have seen. The people who grow, who really grow and expand, from the very beginning, they have put in these structures into it. They have ensured that, they do the things, even on a very small scale, but they do the things that all the big companies do. So that with time, as you grow, you are not introducing something new into the business. It's an established principle. Everybody knows that every month, you do an analysis. You would sit down, you would look at how much your raw materials now cost, how much the finished product is, you look at how many customers you gained, how many, fell out the line, what's happened. Your sales, you will do like a really, really big multinational, because that's really what you want to be. You are who you be. You are who you think, you become who you think about. That thing that you really think about, that thing that really impresses on your mind, when you act it out, with time, you begin to become like that person. You begin to become like that thing. So for me, it's that. The other reason also is government policy. So you can actually dream big. You can act big. You can do everything big. You can have monthly meeting, sales meeting, go meeting, and all the things that you're supposed to do. And then one morning, because you bring in one thing from China, and then if I wait for the government policy, something just happens to dollar. And that affects your business. Or government policy just say, that time when they plant rice, some people actually had rice on the sea already. Yeah. They had rice on the sea already that they can't come back and the rice cannot arrive. So one thing can actually change the face of a business. The important thing is just, so like a typical Nigerian, I would say pray. Because I don't know. You just have to pray. Now maybe they don't think about you that morning and they don't ban something. But again, make sure that for everything that you're using, if you use something out of the country, there are alternative local source for it. And continue, and then you have to be very, very careful, especially when you use imported things and then there are local things. Because these things I also put into consideration when I was starting baby food company. So I think that if we get some things from abroad and then we start using it, what if government bans it? And then when they ban it, we now have to use a local substitute. When you use a local substitute, the people who have become used to that thing that you have been bringing from abroad will now come and tell you that it's like they're now doing fake of your product. Yeah. That because this one is now different, the color is different. So from the beginning, you must get it right. In line with your mission, in line with your vision, if it is locally produced, locally made, locally sourced, everything, it must be that. And then you follow through. That way you even secure yourself better. The only risk is maybe Fulani herdsmen stopping a tanker, stopping a truck, or all these protests that recently happened, the one that they didn't allow them to bring in stuff from the north, and most of our grains are from the north and all those situations. But again, most of our grains are from the north. But what if we have in stock? Would you wait for a stock to run down before you now order, so that you will not be left, stranded, because somebody has refused to let one trailer that has your own grace come into it. If you're running a business like that, also, it is a problematic issue for you. And that means that every time, you know what they say, always guiding when you're running a business in Nigeria. Every day you're always guiding. You're always thinking about, you're always deflecting every day. You are like Taribo West on the defense, trying to defend everything and deflect it. And that means that as an entrepreneur, mentally you must be sound. You must be able to anticipate the risk of your business. Anticipation is the number one emotion I think you need to have when you run a business. You must anticipate. When you anticipate, it will help you to be able to prepare, and it will help you to be able to prevent to the barest minimum when that circumstance is finally actualized. You are able to prevent it or minimize the effect on your business. They stopped trailers from coming into Lagos, but we didn't run out of stock for about a week. We were able to still do our surprise. We are still not run out of stock. So that's how to do a proper business thing. If you're using paper from anywhere, make sure that you have enough stock. So that even if you increase your price, you'll be able to give your customers enough notice. Not just because people has increased in China. You will not immediately, because you're out of stock already. You have to be able to bear some shocks as an entrepreneur. So those are just my own comments about it.
Okay. Thank you. You said a whole lot of interesting things in terms of running the business. For me, I think there is why businesses don't scale much here, or maybe don't scale. There's something I call the inventor roof, right? Some people can have all kinds of ideas and bring them up, but once they get to a limit, right? So a lot of founders, there's a point where your business gets to, you're no longer a founder, you're no longer somebody who found a business. You learn to transition from being a founder to a CEO. They are two different things. The founder is like that entrepreneur who can do all kinds of stuff without minding. He keeps creating. He spends a whole lot of money on R&D. But the CEO is the one who understands that this business was set up for one sole reason: to make money. So many people never transition. That's one. The second thing is that most businesses, especially in this age, in Nigeria, did not start because they wanted to solve a problem or because they wanted to make money. Most of them started just because somebody wants to be in charge. And that is why they will put themselves ahead of the mission. There's almost, if there were 100 CEOs in Nigeria, or 100 founders in Nigeria, there's probably less than 2 of them that will step down so that the business will succeed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, if you actually started this business to meet a need or to make money, it doesn't matter who is at the head. As long as, so that is a major reason. That's the reason why someone doesn't have a skill to run a particular thing. He brings in someone to run the thing, and then suddenly he's no longer happy that everybody is speaking to this guy. So business who they are speaking to. When you look at the books, are they okay? So these are 2 major. And the last one is playbooks. You see, there are very small consulting firms in this country that have been running for over 20 years. They don't have more than 10 staff, including the driver and the gateman, 10. They're doing turnovers of over $1 billion every year. And one small place, they've been like that because they know where they are standing, right? They understand the environment. When you bring a playbook, it's okay to go watch Shark Tank or watch Dragon's Den or read Think and Grow Rich and all that. But you need to know how to adapt it. This is, like she said, this is the place where you have to do your business like Karibo West. They are guiding every day. This is not a place where you stop for 1 year or stop for less than 6 months. You have to be in a place where you don't get to lose because you know that you are floating on a boat that is not sailing anywhere. A boat that is doing like this inside one pond that it looks like there's no way for you to enter the open sea. So if you understand that, you're going to come at the business bit by bit. You will not go and borrow money and throw it into unnecessary marketing. Right? So generally, in some climates, you can say, oh, if I put $100,000 into marketing, I'm going to get X growth and all that. It doesn't really work like that here. You know, so because there's so many, you know, like I said, 1 million ways to die. So if you really understand the climate and take your business bit by bit, and try to stay away from the whole buzz of this is what we're doing now, this is all, because a lot of businesses are only very happy and good on Instagram. When you actually meet the real business, they're not doing anything. That's why you're going to make an order, and that order never arrives. And you call and call and call. There are businesses that are raking in money today with zero social media conversation or zero press conversation. There are individuals that are raking in a whole lot of money. They're not making noise. They don't speak at events. They don't come and they live their life. They know what they're focusing on. There are sometimes the PR can help you to talk about using the influencers the other time. You know, because the other thing about this whole thing of we outsource a whole lot of things in this country. We want to outsource everything. We outsource our spirituality to our pastor. We outsource taking care of our children to our house help. We outsource our security to experts, to people who are doing all kinds of things. So you don't really want to ask yourself, how am I going to do this by myself? Right, and accept the situations that are surrounding it. So, and finally, before I drop off, is that we have also found it hard to get into partnerships. We found it hard to work together. We want to take over the whole space, but if we're given the whole space, we still will not do anything with it. Right? Yeah. So we find it hard to say, you know what, let me partner with this person. Let me work with this person. And it's more from our generation down to, I mean, this recent ones is even worse. They don't want to hear any dissenting, any different opinion. Nah. They don't want to hear, they want whatever they say, let's be that the whole room is accepting it. If the whole room accepts it, if one person says no, it becomes so we find it hard to forge partnerships, we find it hard to give off something so that we can get what we're looking for. So those are, I mean, the whole, because when I say this, is actually say them from experience. You can teach from winning, you can also teach from losing. Yes. So yeah, so because I've seen the whole lot of this happen from time to time and so on. So first of all, we should be, as people who want to start a business, we should learn to put our mission first before ourselves. Yes. We should learn to know when to give off something so that we can get something else. Yeah. Right? And be open around it and not overthink or overguide issues.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I want to, I think this was very, very clear. I want to now talk about more intangible aspects of being an entrepreneur. So I want to talk about things like values. Talk about things like, I mean, faith has come up here occasionally. We also talk about, especially when you mentioned the resort to faith when the inshallah when things are, So what do you think is the place for values in running a business? Is it important for you to have those? And when you have them, do you have them as a hard line, or will you have to at some point decide, okay, maybe I can cross this line sometimes, maybe I cannot. Like, how do you handle that aspect? And how does that affect your business generally?
Okay, for me, I think that when you say you're a Catholic, make sure you receive Holy Communion, and then you go for confession. So when you come out and tell your story and say, this is who I am, make sure you live up to it. The challenge most times is that people tell you integrity, but they are not. Remembering that integrity is different from moral, right? Integrity means that I said I'm going to kill this guy and I kill him. Morality does not allow me to kill him. But integrity means that you said you're going to do this and you did it, right? So I'm big on faith when it comes to marriage and family. But in business, you just have to decide how you want to play, right? You also have the right to keep silent about how you want to play. But if you ever come out and say it, make sure you live up to it. That's what I think. Because as an entrepreneur, Prof told us about the guy who went to Vegas to go and gamble to pay salaries. Then he comes to a very religious family who think that gambling is bad. How will you explain that? So, I think first of all, as an individual, learn to judge less. Learn to accept people for who they are, not who you thought they are, or who you want them to be. Some people want to eat their eba with ordinary water. As long as they are not asking you to do the same thing with them, it's fine. It's called respecting choices. Okay? So, the issues about people praying in the office, they have to come in, there's office prayer, someone lays hands on people inside the office and all that. For me, sometimes I don't think it makes sense. Right? I mean, pray to God in your house. Especially when you don't know how we all practice our religion. Yes. Some people, on that day that there's prayer in the office, they never function because they are just. And when they complain too much, people say they are from the devil. It's not from the devil. You are the person that is creating devil environment in your office. But it's very important for you to communicate what you like and what you don't like. in the days when I run a business, I'm big on respect. So that's the biggest thing for me. That's probably almost the only thing for me. Respect for yourself and respect me. When people come to work, they always ask you for 2 things. Respect and do your job. You don't have to come inside, you don't have to carry my bag. I don't need, in fact, not even greet me when you see me. You know. But if you respect somebody, there are things you will not think about doing to them. And if you respect yourself, there are things you will not do to yourself. Right? And I tell people that everywhere, every time. So if you know what is important for you, that is your value, make sure you communicate it clearly. Because if you don't, or you should also have a room for accepting other people's values. That's what this is all about, tolerance. It's what this is all about, tolerance. The whole intangible things, it's about tolerance. It's about you understanding that this guy might do X, Y, Z to survive the business. I might not do, but I don't have the right to go and badmouth him or say that he's the bad one. Who even knows what is that is bad? That's the question.
So I have noticed that in Nigeria, I guess maybe what I have noticed is that people think values are those things that when you write on the back, our value is yes, those type of things, teamwork, respect, all those things. They write it on the wall. People also think that values are that thing that you must add to your website, our core values. Some people click, you read about the core values and all these things. The important thing is this: when the chips are down, are you going to stand by those values? That's the decision you need to make as an entrepreneur. As somebody starting a business in a climate like Nigeria, the decisions you need to make pertaining to your values are this just what you write, or this is what you would live and die by? I remember about a year and a half ago, this organization, very big organization in Nigeria, wanted to give me some funds. And they announced to the public at the meeting that they were going to give me, I think it was maybe 5 million or 10 million, I can't remember. Then when it was time for them to keep the money, they sent me an email and it was significantly reduced, like about maybe 1 point something million. So I called their attention to it, but this is not what you announced. And they said, no, that I should not worry, I should take this one. That I can use this one for anything I like. That if I like, I can use it to buy food for my staff. I can use it to buy computers. I can use it to do anything. Meanwhile, we submitted a work plan for this money. There's a work plan of what we want to do with the money you announced to everybody that you were giving us. And now you are telling me that I can even buy food for my staff with the money. And so it was a decision that we had to make. I had to write them a letter to tell them it was attempt. It's not like you have more money that you're 1 million that you're not using. And someone is telling you that take this 1 million, you use it to do anything. This is the person you're supposed to be reporting to. She's telling you do anything you like with it. And so we wrote a letter to them, declining the money. We did not just decline the money alone. At the events that they have given this thing out, they are giving us a plaque, they are giving us a gift bag and everything. Everything, plus the Bible. We packed in a pack for them. And we returned everything. With the plaque, with the pen, I think the letter that listed everything that they gave us. And returned every single thing to them. Because this is not what we are about. It's not that we don't need the money. Don't get me wrong. We need the money. But it's not the type of money that we want. It's not the money that we need. We don't need that type of money. And so we returned this whole thing to them. And I also remember one day I was on a Skype on a Zoom call with this investor, and he was talking about money and everything. And then at the start of the conversation, one of the first questions he asked me was, okay, so what's the exchange rate in Nigeria now? You know, and I said, okay, that immediately you can think about a few things. If he's giving you $100,000, for instance, if you check online, when CBN rates, now it's not going to go to Aboki FX. If it's CBN rates, you collect the money at CBN rates, and then you go and change it at Aboki rates. The difference you will keep. And so I told him that, well, the CBN rate says this amount, but you can get more value for it if you go to the parallel market and change it there, and you get more value for this money. And he said, oh, I thought that you would not mention that because before the call, you have gone on Aboki FX and see me thinking somebody has gone on Aboki FX. So you never really know. Values are actually those things that, even in the face of, you know, something, in the face of something that looks like huge profit to you, you're still able to stand and stick by the values, even though it looks like a loss. USADF is one example I will continue to do. When I applied for USADF funding, it was then for $25,000 in 2014. And they were to give out this money in 3 months, 3 installments. And I remember that when they reached out to me for my second installment, because they said that I was the only one that had not requested for my second installment, I told them that it was because I had found some things cheaper, and I still have money from the first installment, and that I was going to do an updated budget for them that will reduce the $25,000 that they gave me, that I would not even be needing as much again. Till tomorrow, when USADF wants to write any letter for me, when they want to talk about anything, that particular thing that I said to them in an email is what they go and copy and put in it. To say that this one, in terms of accountability, integrity, this one will spend your money as it should be spent. If you have any change, she will give you back. Till tomorrow, everybody in USADF, that's what they will write. Whenever I have any reference, any need for any kind of reference or anything, that the first people that I will reach out to. And I have also seen the $25,000 in 2014, they have gone on to fund me for different things that I did not do one application for. So they will just tell me, you know, they have this one open and everything, but that I should send all my details because I don't need to apply. So it sets something for you. The values are not just those things on the wall, our core values are, you know, then you list it, or on the website. They're the things you live and you die by. And as you must have those values. They are not that you will live and die by. It is your integrity, respect, everything. You must have it. Honesty, you must have those things. Let everybody know that you are not one of them. You are not one of those people. The organization I was talking about today, they were very surprised that I returned their money. Very, very surprised. I did not just return their money. I now copied the overall fund that was funding them. Because this is nonsense. Is this what you do to other people? A desperate entrepreneur will take that up. Somebody who has never gotten any funding before and has just been struggling, and then somebody is saying, take this $1 million that I'm not using, that person will take it up. Because that person will not, that person has not gotten anything since all these days that I'm doing this work. Let me just take this one. So we must put an end to it, and it starts with all of us. We must have the hill that we live and we die by.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. A bit of a challenge. So, how many of us here attending run businesses of our own? Can I see your hands? If you run your own business, you have your own business running. Can I see your hands, please? Okay, so that's 3. How many hands? Let me see your hands now, please. Okay, so 4. Okay, fantastic. Okay, good. So basically, my next question is about funding, right? And before we get to that, I would like to, because there's something called an elevator pitch. You know, so it's something that every person that tries to run business or looking to get investors it's something that you should be able to do, right? So challenging without, of course, there's really no undercurrent to it. But for me, it's an opportunity to, those of us that are running businesses here, to, one, practice your elevator pitch if you already have one. If you don't have one, at least have a first attempt at one. Secondly, put it forward in a place where we have experienced business owners and people have been running businesses so that they can, I mean, if any of you knows what, I don't know if you know what Dragon's Den is, but Dragon's Den is a place where you go in and find people that have veterans at running businesses and people who want to pitch, who want to get funding for their business, go in and pitch. For you to even get in there is a big deal. So this is an opportunity we have with people who have done this for a number of years. They know the things that could go wrong in your pitch, right? So I'm going to be inviting, and it's completely open for you to accept or not accept, right? But I'm hoping that you will accept and give it a shot. And these are those of us that are running businesses, to come and give your pitch, do your elevator pitch, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Basically what it is talking about your business in a way that it interests another person, right? So, and at the end of the day, we're going to take comments from them while they're answering the questions about investments. We're going to take comments from them on your pitches. So, what were the things they think that you did well? What were the things that they think would have done better?
I run a logistic tech startup called Truck, and what we do at Truck is we leverage technology to connect anyone who needs to move anything to the closest available vehicle. It's a wide range of vehicle categories. We have pickup, minivan, big vans, trucks, 5 ton, 7 ton, 10 ton. What we are doing is we are making logistics smarter, faster, more efficient, and even more affordable for people and businesses that need logistics. Opening up drivers, the owners of this vehicle that sign up on our platform to increase traction, almost ×5 of their traction week on week, every single time they sign up with us, and also giving users access to affordable, instant, smart, real-time logistics. Given like that, of course. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and please put your hands together for me. Thank you so much. Please go ahead and take a seat. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, please, yeah, you're ready.
Thank you very much. My name is Christian Rodet. I run a packaging store. We supply packaging for entrepreneurs, people that are starting businesses. We also deal in equipment, things like shrinker machines, sealing machines for people that package stuff. Currently, we supply things to people in about 20 states in Nigeria. We are hoping to grow our customer base more, and then to also supply people outside of Nigeria, because we get inquiries from people outside of Nigeria for packaging that they need, or before I sorted out that issue.
Thank you, Christian. Medicine.
All of this myself personal, I said I work for Meta as a salesperson, and I see the more business within the business. So what I do is sit on broadband. That is your Wi-Fi and your router. Okay, so there's a place I buy from inside the company at a cheaper price, even as I work for them and sell to people who are engaged. Again, the second thing I do is the recharge card business. Okay? Because I can buy a bulk of recharge card for like 200,000 and I get credited 210,000. That is the profit on top of the recharge card. So once you call me that you want to recharge your device, which is maybe 2,000 naira or 2,000 naira, I just do that from my ERC wallet directly. So it's a business I do, I don't have to pay transport to do the business for you. I can sit in my house and just retire. So in a month, I can make up to 20, 30K without going anywhere if I don't have to. And because of the value of internet, every business uses internet. So it's not something that is going to go down anytime soon. And I'm still thinking of how to leverage more on that so that if I get more money, we will buy more and sell our course. Thank you.
Very much, guys. Thank you so much for all of you for coming. Okay, so
basically what I want us to do is speak on what they have done as far as from a perspective of potential investors, say for example.
and then with that, now give direction, in a fuller way. How do you raise capital, or how do you attract investors to your business?
Okay, so thank you very much for presenting your businesses and for talking about it in impromptu again. But then it is what we do as entrepreneurs. We talk about our businesses everywhere. To whoever, whether they want to listen or not, we talk about our business. So you meet someone today at the bus stop, you find a way of having discussion, end up with discussing your packaging business, or you end up with talking about your trucking business and things like that. There will not always be a very formal event for you to do your pitch. So I really appreciate your presenting your businesses here today. That said, I think for me, it's a couple of things. I didn't hear a lot of problem statements. I would have liked to hear why, the why you do what you do in like a sentence or a word or something. I would have loved to hear, for instance, why you trucking business, to solve what problem. I would have really liked to hear if those exist in your business. I would have loved to hear it. Another thing is, as you were presenting, I liked it. I like all the things you said about having different categories, so it's not just the 5 pounds, 10 pounds, you even have smaller ones and all those stuff. I like that fact. But I understand that this was also impromptu, in 1 minute and stuff like that, but maybe more elaborately, it would be also good to know how you have been able to address some risk. For instance, if a truck driver runs away with the goods and they have put it on your system, what is your liability? I would like to hear something like that. One thing I also did not hear, or one thing that I think is super important, especially when you are doing all these elevator pitches, what is your ask? So you may not directly come and say, I'm asking for $1 million, or I'm asking for 1 million naira or something, but give a very clear idea that there's a need, and that maybe the need is money, or maybe the need is machine, or maybe something. Just let it be in the subconscious of that person that you actually have this need. I did not hear any need. Your business sounds pretty comfortable. Like, yeah, okay, you even mentioned it that you do it from the house and everything, so that you get this data as well. So you're just telling us about it like an information kind of thing. that, oh, you do this. I didn't really get any. So it doesn't seem like maybe you are looking at expanding, you are looking at, it doesn't seem like it has a lot of growth issues. But one thing that would come to my mind when you talk to me, as you did today, is I'll think about conflict of interest. So is there a conflict of interest? You purchasing this thing from your company and then selling it, I mean, is it allowed? I would worry about that part. Or is this a back-end kind of business? So I would worry, I would ask about that part. So that's the part that I think you also need to clarify. Generally, the structure is, and you will not always get it right every time, but the structure is this. So you start with a problem, and then you move from the problem to the solution. And then when you move from the problem to solution, when you tell me the problem, then you tell me your solution. When you tell me your solution, I want to know the addressable market. How big is this market? I mean, about you can even join your problem and the market together. So there are about 50 million women of childbearing ages living in rural communities in Nigeria where there are no doctors or midwives. I mean, you have joined both the problem and your addressable market together. So you can actually do something like that. If you have a story, it's always nice to start with a personal story. What led you to your business? I mean, what is your why? So it could be, I don't know what your story is, but it could be that one time you sent something to somebody and somebody ran away with it. Or you are not able to find somebody to pick up in time to deliver to your customer, you ran into problems. And so you decided to address that issue. But it could be a number of issues. As somebody, you could even be a business owner yourself, or a separate business, but you found out that before you could get the packaging materials that you needed to go to China. How many people will go to China to go and get it? You know, how many people will even get this? How many people will be able to have quality packaging materials for their products? You know, because it's important in business. Before I buy, I must first like it. I must like the color. I must like how it looks like. It must be neat on the shelf. That's also what helps determine placing on the shelf. I must find it attractive before I now decide to buy. When I now buy, the next thing is that it is out of the hands of the package and it's now into the hands of the product itself. So does the test make sense? You know, is this thing okay? You know, that's entirely different, but it's a lot. People cross different hurdles when they buy products. You know, so packaging is super important. So your why is very, very important. Your story behind why you started is also very, very important because you do packaging. Let us know why you started. So you move from your beginning, which is your problem, you move to your solution, then you go into your addressable market. After your addressable market, I want to understand what is your impact. How many have you sold? You know, for instance, where I heard you said you are now in 20 states. I mean, you can be in 20 states, but you can be in one store in 20 states. So how many? What's your volume like? What's your turnover? What's it like? I would really like to see all those type of things. So from there, you can now move to tell me about your team. What is your own qualification? You know, so or who else has that required skills in your business? This is just for a more elaborate kind of pitch. And then your ask. So let me know your ask. What is your ask like? What exactly do you want me to do for you? Which is a question anybody you meet in an elevator is internally asking yourself. And then everything you say when you meet someone in an elevator is and so. And so, okay, so you run a shopping business. Okay. You are able to book online, you know, you find shop people. Okay. And then you continue until you get to that point where you now talk about your problem. That many times, you know, we are gotten to a stage where we are even unable to meet up with our demand. A lot of our top members are overworked. They have to do 3 shifts, 4 shifts. They travel something. So now we are looking at increasing the fleet of tankers that we have or the fleet of trailers that we have and all those stuff. That way, I'm already getting an idea. So you want to buy more tankers or you want to buy more trailers. Okay. And then I can now ask you, how much is a trailer? You know, so those type of things, they are important. You need to be able to push your ask. So yeah, it must be clear. Even if you are just the person and you're just saying, okay, this person needs this person. Hello, I must have a very, very clear idea so that I can think immediately. The mind will not tell you what it's doing. You know, but you know that this person, when you steer them in a particular direction, they are either thinking of how to help you directly or introduce you to someone that can help you. What should be your ask? You may be, I mean, it's okay if they can't help you, but if you know somebody that can help you. So can you do an introduction? You know, do you know anyone? You know, can you do an introduction to anyone? Or what is the more convenient? Can I submit a pitch deck? All those type of things you need to be able to
think that you have said everything. Most times when you teach or when you talk about your business, this was impromptu, but at the same time, it is something you should probably practice most of the time. It should be something that when you tell somebody what you're doing, it is not hard for them to understand it in the shortest time. Right? I do an experiment. Every time I'm trying to describe a business, I go and describe it to my mom or the security guy in my house. Like, these are people that if I can be able to convince, explain to them, they can understand what I'm saying. So because it's not about the plenty English that you use, it's about the urgency. You know what sales is when you sell, it's the amount of urgency that you create in the other person that determines how fast or if they buy in the first place. Right? So first of all, you want to understand who you are pitching to. What is your target? Yes, this was impromptu, but actually thought that maybe one person would have basically thought of channeling it to a particular thing. What we're trying to look for here was quality, not per se what you're saying. Right? I'm sorry, the charge guy actually doesn't have a business. He has a hobby. Right? So, because there was no kind of bite in what was coming out or what you're trying to do. So, understanding your audience, everyone, like I said, everyone is not your super customer. But I don't know if you've read Richard Branson's book, like The Virgin. There's a story of a woman that Richard gave money in South Africa. He has a resort, a game reserve. And this lady is a seamstress. And she walks up to Richard just one morning and says, Richard, I need 300 rand. I needed to buy sewing machine or additional sewing machine for my business. I will pay you back in 3 months. She has said everything. She has said what she needs. She has said what she wants to do with it. She has said when she'll pay it back. And Mr. Branson said he gave her the money, not just because of all the details she gave, but she actually said it like she meant business. Right? You know, some of us, when they say the thing about handshake, some of us, we meet people, whatever, it can happen anywhere. And one of the best ways to be able to do it, I remember in the days of the beginning of Better, one of the best ways to do it is to actually write it down. Do a 160 character thing. Do like as many as possible. Practice them. Keep saying them until you get used to them. Until when they wake you up is the first thing that you can say. Right? So I mean, I think it was not bad. You guys listed what you're doing. The only reason why I really cannot say anything now is there was no directional of who you are directing. You just basically told us, you know, like me, if I meet you as someone who's a consultant, I'm going to start probably asking you a question like, hey, how do you grow customers? How do you do X, Y, Z? And then you're going to tell me. You know, sometimes when I ask you that question, you go off on a tangent, you try to prove, you don't know you're giving me information. And then I'm now going to say, what if? You know, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, one of your best points is that point where you're asking somebody, what if? What if? You have to, first of all, you have to get them to that point. So that's what you do when you meet someone in the elevator, on the road, or anywhere, even in church. Okay, so I think you guys did well. What was the other? I was supposed to answer the question about how to get investments.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very long thing, because I was thinking that you would probably, she didn't tell us what she did for her to get all those money she was getting. She probably smiled at them. Just she was basically smiling them. See, but the truth is, I can tell you guys, nobody will actually clearly tell you how their money came about in essence. These guys don't tell you these things. They will tell you, it's not easy. Or they'll say, just put together a proposal. Put together a proposal. They will tell you, state your need, state your this, state your this. It's not that straightforward. You have to actually tailor-make whatever it is to who you are targeting. Right? If there are 20 people in a group that you want to, like there's something I do. Before I go to every event before COVID, I always choose one or two people that I want to know at that event, that I want to get. And those are my targets for the whole event. I don't care whatever else is happening. Whatever sessions they are attending are the sessions I will attend. When they're eating lunch, it's not going to eat lunch. Until I get their details that I need, I know I'm done for the day. Okay? So this whole funding thing is number one is try as much as possible to only get funds when you need them. As a business, this is one of the things that sinks a lot of people, right? You hear that somebody's applying for $100,000 here, you apply. They're applying for 50,000 here, you apply. They're applying for this, you apply. Everybody that comes around, you take. You don't know when to say, I actually need this money. And there's a thing that happens with business. So there's a whole lot of money in the pool. When you have excess cash in the business, it starts looking, especially as a small business that has not established, that hasn't put in proper accounting processes and all that. You start thinking that you have arrived. You stop looking at your books and start looking at your account balance. That's one mistake a lot. Even individuals. So I've stopped like checking how much I have in my account balance. Instead, I look at my own personal books. Because when you look at your books, you will actually know that you don't have money. When you look at your account balance, you see a lot of money there. If you spend according to your account balance, you're going to get into trouble. If you spend according to your books, you will find. So first of all is to even determine, do I need money? And what do I need this money for? So that your conversation can be straightforward. So you don't come and start saying, we're currently in 75 locations, blah, 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 blah. So when you come out, if you tell yourself, as part of your plan, I want to add X, Y, Z cities to what I'm doing. This is what it's going to cost me. And then that's what you push it forward. So you don't go and ask for blanket money. Right? So people, there has to be some grain. I don't want to be the one that will find the grain for you. I want, as I said, if you can practice 160, SMS, if you can practice 160 characters of talking about what you do, it makes teaching very, very easy for you. And I can tell you it's not easy. There's so many people who haven't gotten funding today. They might have a good pitch, but they don't have a good investment structure or a good company structure. They might have a good pitch, but they don't have a good product. They might have a good product, there is no good pitch. They might pass through all these hurdles, and when it's time for the legal documents, something happens. They might even do all of this, and somebody will say, oh, you know what, you have to register this business in so and so country before I give you money. So all of that, there's a whole lot to getting that funding. But first of all, like Rob said, man, know thyself. Know what your business needs. So that when you are coming out, it's possible that that thing you're looking for, there's the person that will give it to you just by the way if you're able to articulate it clearly. So that was when it goes to about telling your story, like you said. It's always good to talk about why you started what you're doing, especially if it's emotional enough, you know. Like the guy who started baby food because he felt his wife was suffering. You know, when you tell that kind of story, you have one like 85% or 90% of the women. You'll be like, this guy loves women, this guy is good. They are buying, and you know these people, the way they buy, they are not like us. If they love you, they love you. If you like, keep selling rubbish and keep buying. Only us that will go, but we'll buy from them, they will be like, I don't know this man from this. Let's test this So you need to have that compelling story. And if your story is beautiful, so it works for you. Right? So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I am going to have to put the two of you on the spot and ask you to pick two out of the three people that presented, because I just realized that we only have two things to give out. So we'll just give that. But in the meantime,
let's give it to who are business. One person doesn't have a business.
Okay. So in the meantime, I think we've come to the end. We don't have any questions outstanding, and we don't have anything to give. Oh, we have one question. I promised him integrity. Please keep it very short.
Actually, it's very short. Although institutions answered question, my name is not sure. It's about financial angle of business capital. So is it advisable to borrow money for the cost of capital as a startup, or to only depend on the savings? And if you are going to only depend on the savings, does that mean the savings is insufficient to just run the entire business?
So I'm going to give a very well, I'm going to give two answers. I'm going to give an answer, but informed by two things. The fact that I'm a lawyer and I have worked several years running after debtors, trying to help banks and many people recover money from people who have borrowed money and have failed to make up. Many of them entrepreneurs. That's one. The second thing is I'm going to give this answer based on my own experience also. But I understand that it's a very subjective answer, and I know that we'll be coming from different angles and different areas. But the fundamental principle will remain the same, which is to start with what you have. No matter what you have, start on the scale that you want to start. When I wanted to start the baby food business, after I researched, I did different things, but then I was not just going to come on into it. I bought a very small machine, like a blender. I bought different things in very small. The things that can be very small, max $100 I spent on all the things that I needed, and just kept on trying out different things with it. My son was about a year then, so he was the one that was testing it out. With all my nieces and nephews, all of them, they ate different things at that period. But the thing is this, before you commit or you invest a huge amount of money into things, you must try it out first. You must roll out a viable model. Let's see, let people try it. Let internal people try it. Let some external people try it out for you. Do you need to get a loan to try it out? I would say no. I do not think that you should get a loan to try out your business. Also, do you need to get an investor? You don't even know, you don't want to know what my experience has been. I remember that for this same baby food, before I now decided to just go and max out all my savings to start it, I said, okay, let me see and speak to Nigerian investors, you know. And I met with one, and he said, okay, that yes, he really liked it. Of course, I have a track record, you know, that shows that this thing is likely going to be successful. So he's very happy to drop in money. But listen to the conditions. He told me that he will take 30% undiluted equity in the business. Meaning that even if I get another investor tomorrow, this 30% will forever till this life ends. And for the life of the business, remain 30%. So I will be the one that will continue to cut out of my own shares to investors until maybe 30% becomes superior and becomes the only one, and then you know the whole business is out. Also, at the back of my mind, I know that it's better to own 1% of something that's working excellently than 100% of nothing. You know. That said, his second condition was that he would take 10% of my profit for 15 years. So in addition to taking 30% of the business that is undilatable, he will take 10% of all my profits for 15 years. That means I'm working for him. Everything I'm doing is for him. So I went back home. That was the day I decided that I'll max out all my savings and just use it to start this thing. I have tested it out with my children, and then my nieces, my nephews, other friends, their babies and stuff like that. I have tried it out. And so I decided to now go full scale into it and master all my savings. So I think that it's important, especially in a climate like Nigeria. Do you know what the interest rate is saying in the banks, to even approach banks, to even get money? The interest that, so from the beginning, you're already in debt. From the beginning, you don't even know whether, some months you don't know whether they will even buy at all. There's no assurance that anybody will buy. There's no assurance that they will even like it. And then you have gone to go and borrow money with some other things that you have. I do not think personally, from my own standpoint, that it is advisable. So if you need money, and as you go along, if you can get interest-free loans from maybe your family members. You can try to access interest-free loans from your family members, maybe ₦1 million or something. That is only after you are satisfied yourself. And you are ready to put in the work to make the business work. Because in Nigeria, you must be committed to put in that work before that business will work. You must 100% be committed to it. So my own is, I don't support it. I see, running after people, I know how they run. Like they practically, physically run away from you. They buy your number 1 million times because they know it's a lawyer calling because they want to come and recover money and all those stuff. They're constantly living in a state of high BP. Me, I don't want that for my life because I have spent the number of years seeing debtors and I am very allergic to loan as I sit down here. So I try to max out my savings and then I try also to now begin, once I give it some time and I see what the traction is like and I see what our customer base is like, only then will I even begin to seek funding for that particular project. So I will not even seek funding for something in the beginning. Because again, it's about organic goods. Like I said, collect money only when you need it. If you don't need it, don't collect money. If you have lots of money in your account and your statement is showing something else, you don't have a business, you only have money. Once that money is mapped out, the only thing that is supposed to sustain the business is the customer base, which is reflecting in your account details. If it's not reflecting there, give it some time. 2 years, you're dead. The whole business, the end, everything. You know, so that's just my own answer.
I think she has answered the question of why we should not like
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for this. Thank you so much for your time. This is not our plan for extensive. What you have done here cannot be quantified and monetized. So the best we can say is thank you. And the Nigerian one, God bless you. So thank you guys for attending and for staying to the end. I'll now have to Ifechi to take the closing remarks, after which Isioma will hand out the
Thank you very much. When I'm taking pictures, right after. Thank you so much. I think the design of knowledge is like to be shared, whether it's traded or it's giving out to CSR. Right now, what they do is They give it out for free. And called them first, and then they obliged. It's so beautiful, and I'm grateful. So I'm here to say thank you. I'm here to say thank you to the listeners, those who have left, those who came, joined us earlier. Thank you so much. It's actually a monthly program. So it's just March. Hopefully we do it in April. Hopefully we do it in the following month of May and the rest of them. We need funding for it. The idea is we expand beyond this. Well, because of COVID-19 pandemic, because the dream was to make it bigger than this year. So we do more publicity, do more advertising, we get more people, sponsors and partners to see these events. Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was practical? I thought it was practical. I mean, everything you dropped was like a master class, something you should pay 100,000 for 30 minutes or even more. So you guys did very wonderfully well, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I learned, I jotted a lot. Doesn't go well. I should be managing some things in the future too. So this is me using the opportunity to sell my market too. I may be coming to ask for sponsorships or partners for you to go into maybe partners that could do like Keju looks like someone that knows where the money is. So this free teaching, doing my elevator pitch, do you think it's good enough? What if, just like Go said, what if so this is actually, I'm serious. I will come for that. Am I allowed? Am I free? Thank you. So, prospectively, I don't know, maybe you help us sell our markets too. Tell people around you, your church, your groups, your social groups, inform them about RMS CVL. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CVL_NG. We are there, Visible Center for Values and Leadership. That's what we do. All right. So it's time to, I don't know, pictures or to present the compendium. All right. Permit me to invite Isioma Otomi. She is the Executive Director of the Center for Values and Leadership. Please present the compendium to. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much again to our speakers. Thank you so much for all the knowledge you have shared with us and for sharing your time with us. Time is so much more valuable than money in so many situations. Thank you to everyone who is here. We hope you learned a lot from the experience. And like Beji mentioned, please follow us on social media. Remember to tag us in any of your posts. And just let us know, give us feedback on the program, what we done better, when is the next one, so that the patient can get on it immediately. But again, really, really grateful for the time and energy of everyone who has been part of this program. So I'd just like to present a small gift to our speakers. From himself. No, it's from himself. He wrote here and has signed copy.
Oh, my first goes to.
Where do you want to be?
I'm trying to be nice.
Thank you so much for your participation, for what you have shared, and we hope to invite you in sometime soon.
Thank you.
For your participation, for all the reasons you have shared. I was really enjoying the nuggets I was getting. So, again, we are very grateful for your time and your presence, and hope to see you again soon. Alright, so I think I have one plan together. You'll see. Yes, yes. Okay, so it must be the photo up.
Before I meet the thing, so that I love to see only one.
If you do not stop talking, everybody just pulls in their breath for a second. Yes, I want, if you would like to need a photo, everyone in the audience, please feel free. Let me move that chair. Is everyone in the shop? Just smiling.
Are you sure?
The light projector, yeah, as well as. The light and projector is not in our face.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, you are all right.
Let's take pictures. Let's take pictures. All right, so good.
All right.
2016. Unemployment and underemployment was highest for persons in the labor force between the ages of 15 to 34 years, which represents the youth population.
CVL is involved in a program of empowering 100 young people in the Ajegunle area to be entrepreneurs, to be people who create value, create wealth for their own good and for the benefit of general economy. For very clear and specific reasons. No society that leaves a significant number of its people behind can prosper in a sustainable manner. What the challenge of development really is a challenge of opportunities being open to all. And there can be demographic challenges to having opportunity open to all. And so certain parts of town that are quote unquote down the socio-economic ladder tend to get left behind. And because of this, we have been focused on Ajegunle for a very long time. Many years ago, I, as an individual working with another initiative, the Paradigm Initiative Nigeria, Benga Sheson, was involved in an Ajegunle project that took young people, provided them IT skills, and many escaped the neighborhood through that program. I know the British High Commission is particularly proud of one or two who, through placements in the British High Commission, continue to work even for the British High Commission till date, not just in Lagos but in Abuja. And so this passion to work with the people of that area has remained. We have had CVL initiatives with DFID, which we provided water, boreholes, and running water for parts of the community. And so when the need to help build a whole new generation of entrepreneurs for our country so that we can prosper came up, Ajegunle was a natural. And finding partners like Citibank Foundation and all of that was just greater impetus for going in to create more opportunities for more of the citizens.
The unemployment rate for those within the ages of 15 to 24 was at 21.5% in the first quarter of 2016, from 19% of the fourth quarter of 2015, and 17.8% in the third quarter of 2015. For those in the labor force within the ages of 25 to 34, unemployment rose to 12.9% in the first quarter of 2016 from 11.4% in the fourth quarter of 2015. The Center for Values and Leadership Young Entrepreneurship Training Program is a one-year project funded by CVL Partners. It is an intensive entrepreneurship development program initiated for youths in Nigeria between the ages of 18 to 35 years to provide them with business support such as technical know-how, business information, startups, and access to financial links. It is intended to enhance the capacity of community-based youths who run small businesses or have the intention to own and run sustainable enterprises. Target beneficiaries are youths living in densely populated slums and poor neighborhoods in Nigeria. Our overall goal is to reduce youth unemployment in Nigeria through capacity building in entrepreneurship. The CVL Young Entrepreneurship Training Program kicked off with a process of selection of participants. A call for application for participants is issued to the general public. Completed application forms are returned and shortlisted applicants are notified. First stage interview is conducted following screening of qualified candidates. Final interview is conducted to select final participants. Participants undergo 2 months entrepreneurship training, followed by 2 months business mentoring sessions. A graduation ceremony is organized to award certificates and startup kits / grants to successful participants. A 6 months technical support in terms of intensive monitoring and supervision is also provided after the graduation ceremony.
In the course of the program, I've been able to study where I want my business to run. And I've also been able to study bookkeeping, that is how to record the profit and loss I have in the business. And also in the course of the program, I've also been able to know how to market, how to communicate with people.
This program has really helped me a lot. I learned so much. I think I've been able to learn about more of marketing, budgeting, and